Welcome to the On Purpose Leader podcast. My name is Charles Clemens. I'm excited about this conversation that we're going to have today. Justice and fairness. What role do those play in today's leader, in the marketplace, in your community, at the home? Well, my guest today has quite a bit to say about that. Join in for this discussion. Again, welcome to the On Purpose Leader podcast. I'm really excited about this conversation today. Dr. George Taylor.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure to have you here today, and I'm excited for our conversation and for those who'll be joining in. Dear friend, and dare I say, big brother, mentor to me. And so the conversation today will be around this idea of the role that justice and fairness plays in the life of a leader. Leadership is about influence. And with the On Purpose Leader podcast, it's our hope to give insights into how to lead with clarity, with a sense of purpose, and that those values, those things that are at your core, that you're moved by, those positive aspects and principles, that would be the motivating thing in your life. And so I'm looking forward to our dialogue. And for those of you who are joining in, let me share with you a bit about Dr. George Taylor and why it's going to be so great to hear from him. Dr. George D. Taylor is chairman of the Fatherhood Initiatives and Mentoring Committee for the 12th District of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, in which he and I are both members of. And he's over this International Committee on Fatherhood Initiatives and Mentoring for our entire fraternity. And he's the editor and the publisher of our International Fatherhood Initiative and Mentoring newsletter of Omega Psi Phi. And that's with a readership of over 35,000 members. Mm-hmm. He's also an active member and participates on several different committees. He's a part of what's called our Zeta Tau chapter of Omega Psi Phi, and 5 times he was selected as the Man of the Year. In 2021, he received his 60-year service award, and Brother Taylor has several other affiliations, including Tuskegee University Alumni Association, the Los Angeles chapter, and he's the president and CEO of the Zeta Tau Foundation nonprofit. Dr. Taylor earned his doctorate in educational administration at Illinois State University, his master's and his bachelor's degree from the Tuskegee University. Other areas of study includes Institute of Education and Management at Harvard University, Center for Study of the Person, University of California, San Diego, and the A.K. Rice Institute for Study of Authority, Leadership, and Organizational Life. Dr. Taylor is a retired university administrator. He's taught university-level courses on organization, supervision, and leadership, and has influenced quality enhancements in executive management. He has consulted nationally, internationally on issues of authority, leadership, and organizational life, strategic planning and management, human resource recruitment and retention strategies, managing diversity, managing the process of change, and creating and learning organizations. Well, Dr. Taylor, as family would say, you have more degrees than a thermometer, but you are putting them to use. And for those of you who are watching, you're listening to a conversation with 2 friends. And I'm grateful for you, grateful that you're on my list of people. Just to speak to the audience, there's folks who encourage my soul, I laugh with, and I learn from. And Dr. Taylor is on that quick call list of folks that I reach out to. So, Dr. Taylor, again, welcome. And how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling fine, Chuck. Feeling fine.
Good.
Glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here as well. For those who are just now meeting you, you take your time, take us back to where you're from, and tell us a little bit about your family. You and I have talked quite regularly about your father and mother and the value they placed on education. Mm-hmm. And certainly the leader today, to be well informed, needs to have certainly an ongoing mindset to learn. And if they have opportunity for higher education, that's good. But tell us about your foundations, who you are, and your family, and how that positioned you to pursue these areas of life.
Well, Chuck, I am a Southerner.
All right.
Born in the state of Alabama. My dad was born in 1899. My mom was born in 1905. and you asked about foundation.
Yes, sir.
I mentioned those two facts for several reasons because my dad had a third grade education.
Mm.
His dad died when he was 9 years old. He had to stop school to help his mother take care of his siblings. He married my mom, who lived right across the street from him once he became grown.
All right.
My mom was a 23-year-old school teacher when they got married. Um, my mom, I will say about my dad respected my mother's ability, knowledge, strength. My mom, when she made up her mind about something, that was it. She was a very strong individual. Growing up, we went to the Baptist church.
Okay.
That was not you just
did it.
You did those things. Absolutely.
Sunday morning,
absolutely.
you had to get up.
Right. I can remember as a young boy, I was born, by the way, in a mining camp. Grew up, however, in the big city of Birmingham.
It was coal or steel or?
It was a mine. In Alabama, you've got iron ore, steel, all of the minerals that go into the making of steel. Birmingham was considered the Pittsburgh of the South for many reasons.
Sure.
But both cities now have discarded their big steel mills. They are now offshore, as you know. But anyway, growing up, during the time that I grew up in the 40s, 50s, 60s, it was not easy then when it comes to having the freedom or experiencing life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those 7 words were almost invisible in many respects. But I have thought about my parents many, many, many times since being grown, with children, with grandchildren. I can't imagine what my dad and how he grew up, how he lived his life, and the values that shaped his life. The fact that, given his limited formal education, he was a man who was able to build the house that I grew up in.
Wow.
He listened to my mom when she valued education. My older brother was able to go to Alabama A&M. I decided I wanted to go to Tuskegee. I went to Tuskegee. My parents really couldn't afford to send us to either place, but they did. Somehow or another, they made a way. But the question you asked, what shaped my values, it was those 2 individuals and the way in which they worked together. Things were not always peachy keen. They were not always serene, but they worked through their issues. They worked through problems. My dad did not stand in the way of my mother when she valued education. I ended up going to college from listening to her and listening to the conversations that we would have in the kitchen. I selected the college, Tuskegee, because of conversations with my mother. That's kind of what set me, I think it set me without me even being aware, on the course. I can remember when I received my doctorate from Illinois State University. I thanked the Lord for enabling my mom to stay around long enough to see me
She saw that.
get that degree.
Wow. Wow. She must have been so proud.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my dad passed away the year before I received the degree.
Wow.
But he too, I know he would have been proud. When I was graduating from Tuskegee, he loaned me his car to drive down, and I kept his car on campus for a whole week. And I asked a very good friend of both of ours if they could explain why my dad would do that, because that was not a that was a big decision on his part to allow me to have his car for a whole week away from our home.
Wow.
And that mutual friend of ours explained that was my dad's way of saying, "I'm proud of you."
I'm proud of you. Yeah.
And
that's wonderful.
I just that was the value set. My dad ended up being the superintendent of the Sunday school in the little mining camp in which I was born. And when we moved into Birmingham, he still maintained his role as a deacon in the church. So I sort of grew up in the church. My mom was a Sunday school teacher as well. But that's a little of where I came from and what has been on my mind these many years.
Wow, that's wonderful. It's amazing. As I'm hearing your story, and you and I've talked quite a bit before, it's amazing that with what your father faced working in those mines and the kind of heavy, hard work that was, but also hearing about the strong partnership he had in your mother, his wife. Just thinking through elements of your story, even thinking of the late Booker T. Washington.
Yes.
Sometimes by candlelight in the coal mines or in the mines, he would write. And so just definitely hearing the strong value of education and sacrifice and for a brighter tomorrow.
Yes.
You did make mention about the pursuit of happiness, those 7 words, and I want to circle back to that. Was it from the Constitution? We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. I hope I didn't mess that up. and yet this is early 40s in Alabama. To what you felt comfortable with in your mother's pursuit for her education and in your father's pursuit to provide for your family. What were some of the things they faced then to help you overcome to become an educator and a leader today?
2 things come to mind. After I had gone off to college, I came back home. This was my freshman year. First semester of my freshman year, and it had to have been September, October, because my mom and her neighbor were sitting in the living room reading over the questions. Back in the day when, in order for black folks to vote, they had to pass this literacy test.
It was a test, really? Okay.
Had to pay this poll tax.
Wow.
And even if the poll tax was 50 cents or $1 and a quarter or whatever, that was a lot of money back in the day.
Yes, sir.
Particularly with working people, working families.
That's okay. Tell them I said hi. That's fine, Dr. Taylor. No worries.
Anyway, I came bopping in the house, and there my mom was with her neighbor, reading over the questions to be asked and preparing people or getting people ready to take this literacy test.
Wow.
And of course, this was the presidential election, Nixon versus Kennedy.
Wow.
And here I am, big time college student now, knowing everything as a freshman. Having had my first course in sociology, I tried to persuade my mom and her friend that Nixon was the man.
Wow.
They can't be voting for this young guy out of Massachusetts who was a hothead and didn't know what he was doing. And of course, they shushed me away and told me to go on to my room.
There you go.
And let them finish their business. But they not only were they all were my mom in particular very much involved, but my dad as well. I can remember a conversation between him and his buddies out on the front porch where they were talking politics. This was in the 50s with Eisenhower and Adlai Stevenson. And I won't tell you how that conversation went, but sitting around listening to the grown folks discuss politics, even way back then, sort of, I guess, piqued my interest in politics. And it's interesting you asked that question. I'm just recalling, I hadn't thought about that, but questions of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, those 7 words, you don't realize as a youngster how some of those concepts seep into your consciousness and your subconsciousness. But it helped me to form a point of view about life and the value of life. And I guess that's why I do the things that I do today. My mom was an avid reader. There were always books in the house, in the home, magazines, Ebony magazine, Jet magazine.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I can remember a set of encyclopedia.
Britannica.
Yes, yes. My mom would help with homework when we needed help. The school teachers in both high school and elementary school they knew my family. We would visit the grandparents. My granddad, really, who lived nearby. That was our big Sunday outing. His name, by the way, was George. Those were the good days, I suppose. And the more I reflect on those days, the more I come to know myself.
Yes, there you go. That's huge, and thank you. In those moments of your self-reflection, you're giving us a window into what life was like for you then, and also what are the things that motivate you now. I just in hearing your story, I it's hard to imagine having to prepare for a test to take to vote.
Yes.
And so today we just kind of take that for granted that you register to vote and you show up and just do what you do.
And you have to have the money to pay the poll tax
And
too.
have money to pay. And so this is kind of interesting segue, if you will, given that you saw that and you also saw the forward thinking of your parents to instill the value of education, the value of community, the value of faith. Share a bit with us the journey, and maybe we'll have that photo. And you and I talked earlier about this in Ebony magazine, where it's 1965. And for the viewer, pull this up, you'll see Dr. Taylor, who's walking alongside. We see James Former, one of the big 4 in the civil rights movement, notable for his efforts among young people in areas of civil rights. Joan Baez. We see it was a concert, and this was the march from Selma
to Montgomery.
to Montgomery. So you were there. You were actually a part of it, and those of you who are watching and view this And share with us a little bit about that experience and just to name some of the people that were present, Dr. Taylor. We see it appears to be Harry Belafonte was there,
Yes.
comedian Dick Gregory, Nina Simone,
Yes.
Sammy Davis Jr., uh, uh, James Baldwin, and you were part of that march. Share with us, because there are some who may not know what it was about, or they may feel like, well, that was so long ago, there's no relevance to that today. But draw the line from then till now, if you will, what that experience was like, and then maybe share a bit of what you see today, if you feel up for that. Take your time.
You're taking me back, Chuck. You're
Yes.
taking me back.
Yes, sir.
There were actually 3 marches. There was the first one, the second one. Then in the second one, everybody has seen that one because that was the march where John Lewis was beaten by the sheriff of that particular county. In between that march and the third march, the final one, students were somewhat concerned, and they organized their own march and went down to Montgomery shortly after the beating of John Lewis and all of those individuals.
Wow.
And mostly Tuskegee students and Alabama State students, and congregated in the church. I think it was Dexter Avenue Baptist Church.
Dr. King's home church, right?
Yes. It was the church that he pastored.
How old were you then? Sorry, Dr.
I was a first-year graduate student at that time, 21 years old.
21.
Yes. 21, 22. I'm old now, Chuck.
Don't tell anybody, because we wouldn't know it. We wouldn't know it. Yes, sir.
But there was a lot of activity taking place on campuses around the country, but quite a bit of activity was taking place at Tuskegee, because Tuskegee has always been an institution that reached out to the community through the work, as you know, of George Washington Carver and Booker T. Washington. The purpose of Tuskegee was to teach people, to provide people the skills they needed in order to better themselves, economically, socially, spiritually, and in all ways that would enhance the quality of their lives. So it was not unusual for organizations such as the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC,
my mother participated.
Right. They hung
out to Cherry Clemens, my mother.
Absolutely. Well, all of those, the leaders in all of those organizations hung out on our campus. Stokely Carmichael, Jim Foreman, a number of other names that were involved with the leadership of SNCC and CORE. And it's interesting how it was expected of Tuskegee and Tuskegee students that we would be socially and culturally aware, because it was as if Booker T himself was talking to us and saying, you must help people pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. And how do you do that if you don't have skills, if you don't have knowledge, if you don't know who you are, where you are, or what your purpose in life is all about? So Tuskegee gave us not only a very practical understanding of the time, place, and circumstance, but gave us a little theory to go along with it, to buttress what those things that we needed to know. So getting back to the march, when after John Lewis and the marchers out of Selma had been confronted and you saw all of that video.
Yes, sir.
All of the images on TV,
Yes, sir.
which was the media at that time, the dominant media at that time. The students on campus, led by the president of our student body at that time, a young lady from Montgomery by the name of Gwen Patton. The student government ordered a bus, appealed to the students, those who wanted to go to Montgomery to go. I was a graduate student. The young lady with me at that time was also a graduate student. She later became my wife, by the way.
Okay, all right.
We were young graduate interns working in the Dean of Students' office. We decided we would go down to Montgomery and see what was happening. We went down the night before, and you see in the photograph,
yes, sir,
all of Hollywood and all of the entertainers who came out to entertain the people, the marchers, because they slept overnight out in that field, and it was rainy, it was muddy, but they were there.
They were there.
And there were people from all over the country, all over the country.
Wow.
And it gave us Alabamians a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging, a sense that we were not isolated, we were not fighting this battle by ourselves, that there were people in this country who cared, and who cared enough to be there with us during those turbulent times. The next day, we went home, by the way, after that concert that night. We drove back down the next day with all of the students and everyone else. And I was essentially standing on the side of the road.
Wow.
And Jim Foreman, along with John Baez, Jim Foreman knew us. He again, when SNCC would come onto the campus from Mississippi or other the Lyons County or other places in Alabama, they would come for a respite to our campus. They would teach, they would talk to us about what was going on.
Wow. For the audience that may not be familiar with James Foreman, could you give a brief description of who he was and to the listener, if you will?
At that time, and I hope that they will look him up.
Yes.
It's Foreman, Foreman, Jim Foreman. He was executive director of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee at that time.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful person. I can remember him saying to the group at one time, if we can't eat at the same table or at the table that we want to eat, then I won't give you his exact wording.
Sure.
Because Jim Foreman spoke his mind, and I will.
I recall. That's right. we could fill in the blank.
The essence was, if we can't eat at the table, that nobody will eat.
I appreciate that. As I shared, my mom, when she was at Virginia Union University, she participated in SNCC, and they would go to the sit-ins.
Right.
And then when the police would come, or when in some cases people were going to threaten violence, the football players would take their seats at the counters. But there was a lot of strong work that James Foreman did, courageous work to do that, and nonviolently too.
Yeah.
And just as we're having this conversation, can you speak a bit? And you said a lot, Dr. Taylor. I heard personal responsibility. I heard your parents instilling that, yes, this is the society that we're in, but education is a key. And Tuskegee, of course, the sense of personal uplift, if you will, combined with awareness of the system around oneself, that you can and should do all you can to improve oneself and one's lot in life. But in terms of matters of justice, we hold these proofs to be self-evident. and all men, not some, but all. So fast forward to today, sometimes the rhetoric that's heard can be provoking of violence, and respectfully to the family of Charlie Kirk, this gentleman who spoke and many times said things quite inflammatory and offensive to Black people and among other groups. And yet we in no way advocate violence. We in no way
Correct.
support violence. In fact, because we're all made in God's image.
Right.
And one of the most beautiful things from your era is y'all taught us how to communicate and even debate. In fact, James Former, part of the Big Four, they regularly had dialogue, even with people with opposing views.
Yes.
So it's possible to attack issues without attacking people, ad hominems, or get to the heart of a matter, even if you have a different point of view. So what are your thoughts on how people speak or protest or even debate today versus in your day, if that question makes sense? Like, what are your thoughts on, I mean, what you experienced then compared to, say, what's happening now? Feel free to share if you like.
Well, you remind me of a governor at that time by the name of George Corley Wallace.
Uh-oh. I hope I'm not reminded you.
not you.
I'm playing. By the way, we have a good time. Yes, sir.
But George Wallace was quite a divisive individual back in the day.
Yeah.
Yet, before his complete demise, several things happened in his life.
I think he changed a little.
He changed. He even apologized to Black folks.
People can change. Yeah.
He apologized.
Wow.
He was big enough to do that.
Wow.
Now, a little known fact about George.
Okay.
The man was a lawyer,
wow.
but he was also a judge.
Oh.
And if my memory serves me correct, he may have been a federal judge at one time in Alabama.
Wow.
I've also heard it said, though I have not verified it, maybe I will after this production,
yes, sir.
that he grew up as one of the most liberal judges in the state of Alabama. But in order to get elected to a public office at that time, one had to be loud when it came to using the N-word.
Oh, and that would not be Negro.
That's
true. It was a different word.
That was a different. Yeah.
Just playing. I'm just checking. So there's not that word. It's the other one.
The other one. Absolutely.
Yeah. But we ain't gonna say that one here.
Right.
Don't y'all say it either. All right.
But he changed, and I guess his children helped him do that.
Wow.
Because their lives were completely different, and their outlook was completely different in terms of what I have heard.
Wow.
But life at that time was quite different. There were incidents, yes.
Yes, sir.
There were assassinations.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Malcolm X, whom I met, by the way, at Tuskegee. Medgar Evers over in Mississippi. But what is happening today, there seems to be a great deal more vitriol of the type that concerns me. And from my experience and my knowledge of organizations and organizational change, leadership is woefully important.
Yes.
Leadership is very important. A person in high position can, by verbalizing a thought, shape behavior, shape communities.
Wow.
So I think leaders, in my own opinion, are ordained to do good things, to do good for society, to do good for human beings. And when leaders engage in activity of thought that goes counter
Yeah.
to helping people, then something is wrong. We have to do a reset, in my opinion.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know. I don't want to sound as if I'm getting into your.
No, you said something profound, and yeah, I've joked around with you. I said maybe we look at ordination for you, Dr. Taylor, as another pathway for a career. But you said something that when leaders verbalize their thoughts,
Yes.
it can shape behavior.
Yes.
And as the scripture says, the power of life and death is in the tongue.
Oh.
and those that love it eat its fruits. And so when we have leaders that speak up to us, meaning the best, the bright things, you had a leader in your mother and father.
Yeah.
And they had a goal and a vision for you, and they communicated it so much so that you pursued it. We work with young men and mentoring and fatherhood, and
Yes.
and certainly the relations with the consulting and so forth. We all know sometimes that someone could say something,
yes,
and it'll light your world on fire for a good way.
yes,
But then we can have someone speak harmful, toxic, demeaning, degrading, devaluing things.
yes,
That it can ring in your ear almost a lifetime.
yes.
So I'd love to hear more about what are those principles or those values that leaders should have so that they can have that positive impact that you spoke of. Whether you want to speak about that organizationally or even one-to-one, what have you found in your role in leadership through these years and even today to be effective in communicating for the good for those that we lead?
One word comes to my mind.
Yes, sir.
Empathy.
Empathy. Wow. Okay.
When I was in graduate school, studying for a master's degree at Tuskegee, it was drilled into us, and I guess I always knew this, but to hear the professor talk about empathy and explaining empathy, feeling what others may be feeling, being sensitive enough to the next person that you don't want your words to be biting. Sometimes we say things, even I'm guilty of that.
Same here.
Right. You say things not with the intention of hurting people, but maybe at the moment you don't have the language to really express what's in your heart, and you say things in a manner that may be cryptic or people might take offense to. But I think today, if there is one thing that leadership, one lesson that leadership could take from this discussion, it is the lesson of empathy. And what do I mean by leaders or leadership? Who are leaders? It could be the Cub Scout leader, the Boy Scout, the Girl Scout leader, the pastor, the teacher, the person who is runs the local grocery store, any person with the authority and responsibility to provide a service. To provide a service, seeing people as fellow human beings, living and breathing human beings, that ought to be worth something. That ought to be worth, I don't know, a ticket to heaven.
Good news, Jesus paid it all. That's right. Amen. But that empathy,
Empathy, and I wish that our political leadership today could be a bit more reflective. Could be a bit more reflective.
Wow. Yeah.
And not see us as objects, but as human beings who share the same blood.
That's right.
Is there any difference in?
Last I checked, we're all the same. And My father had many different jokes about that. I won't share some of them here, but yeah, we are all the same human beings, made in God's image.
Right,
Yes, indeed.
right.
Dr. Taylor, this has been an amazing conversation, and hearing your values and the values echoed of your parents, and this thing of empathy. Um, Definitely have seen that in my work alongside you with the fatherhood and mentoring.
Yes.
We recently had Keith Parker on, and so
Yeah.
had a great conversation with him and the work he does with fathers in LA.
Yes.
And as we kind of bring the conversation towards a close, can you share a little bit about your role on an international level
Yes.
with promoting fatherhood and mentoring, and any projects that you're presently doing when you're consulting and the leadership that you do? Feel free to share, and then I'll share some concluding thoughts.
Please. Thank you. We are, in addition to my role here in the 12th District as the chairman of Fatherhood and Mentoring, I also, as you mentioned earlier, serve as the editor of the International Fatherhood and Mentoring newsletter. And that newsletter goes out to 35,000 people every 3 months, like clockwork. And I appreciate the column that you do and that
Right.
and that
Glad to be part.
right. And I have a surprise for everybody. The last issue that was produced that came out, it was volume 12, number 2.
Wow.
In a couple of weeks, that's going to be produced in hard copy.
Hey,
Limited though.
Okay.
You might have to go to the Congressional Black Caucus
Okay. All right, I'll look for
to
it.
get a copy. But
Thank you.
I've seen the cover of it. It looks great. It's about 64 pages or so. But what we are trying to do is make possible for fathers, grandfathers, uncles, mothers, people everywhere to read what our great fraternity is doing, what the men in our great fraternity is doing in communities throughout the world, because we are a worldwide organization.
Yes, sir.
And I am just thankful to be in a position to help spread that word. We have young undergraduate students. We have graduate students of all academic disciplines, very much involved. And we are simply trying to make sure that fathers know that there is a place for them in the lives of their children, in the lives of their families, and that we are desperately needed. I know a little bit about being a father and the trials and tribulations.
Oh, yeah.
And I know a little bit about being a grandfather and the trials and tribulations. But we are, the work that we do is important. It's vital, and we must tell our story, and that's what we're trying to do with that newsletter. Keith Parker, you mentioned Keith.
Oh, yeah.
Keith is doing a great job.
Yeah.
He goes into communities where a lot of people won't go,
Right.
but our great fraternity will go into places where others may not go.
Right.
But we give him all the praise that we can in terms of the work that he does in the various communities in Southern California. And there are great men. You and I both listen in almost on a daily basis to the Omega Prayer Call with brothers from all over the country.
Praying every day.
Your Beta frat brothers over there in Philadelphia.
Well, glad you mentioned them. Shout out to Beta Chapter. Yes,
Bernard Fisher and
Big Brother Bernard Fisher. And shout out to him, and he's doing a great work in the community as well.
Absolutely.
Visiting many of the elderly and looking at folks, and just has a stalwart heart. So shout out to Brother Fisher. Yes, indeed.
And you'll have to send him a copy of this.
I'll do that. I'll do. As you mentioned that up at Beta. Or for those of you who are listening, Lincoln University is where I had the privilege to come into Omega Psi Phi fraternity, And there were a lot of service projects that the men were doing on the campus in the community. And gentlemen, I have the privilege to be a part of. We used to have a swim class for the local kids, and we'd offer free swimming classes.
Yes.
And something that really impacted my heart and even my faith is that there was a women's shelter for the abused. And every year we collect food and cans and we take it to the shelter. And me and Richard Rogers, his nickname is Disco, we went and we brought this food to the shelter. And I'll never forget the look on the ladies' faces as we're giving it. First, it was fear, like, oh my goodness, who are these guys? But then when they saw we were there to serve and help,
Yes.
there was a relief. And I say all that to say well, the Lord said it best. It's more blessed to give than to receive. And these are the stories we need to hear.
Yes.
Because we often hear in the Black community that there are no leaders. There are no men helping our women, or there are no fathers there. And the On Purpose Leader podcast has a universal appeal that we're giving out to everyone. But a part of our story is that we lead and love people who look like us and who don't look like us.
Right.
Because we're all human. We're all
Absolutely.
So those are some of my thoughts. Anything else you care to share, Dr. Taylor? It's been a delight having this brief conversation because you and I, we could talk, we could go on. And,
Absolutely.
Any final or concluding thoughts?
I want to thank you for the invitation. This has been enjoyable. If I can do anything in the future to help further the cause of people getting to know each other, people chatting with each other, people talking with each other, and not to each other, but with
each other.
Yes, getting to know, because the world is important. We all are invested in this little planet. I was listening to an astronaut just this morning who was Latino, Hispanic. He said when he first up in space, looked out and saw this little ball, the contour of the Earth, and he saw Canada and the United States and Mexico. He didn't see any. Yeah.
It's also, we're all together.
Right. No boundaries.
That's right. On this one little blue ball. And we got to live together.
We got to live together. We got to take care of this little ball.
That's right. Yeah.
So, but thank you, Chuck, for the invitation.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor.
Okay.
Wow. Well, this has been a delight. The On Purpose Leader podcast. There's a scripture that says, what is it required of you, O man, but to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God? And whether you're of faith or not of faith, how do we treat people that are different from us? What are our thoughts, and how do we verbalize that? And we do need more empathy in this world. So thank you for tuning in.